There, superheroes. We are here for a serious video today. Alright? Nah, I'm kidding. I'm just here to share some of my point of view here with yet another, the real life Lex Luthor to James Gunn's Superman, and that is Tyrone Magnus. And he's not alone. I mean, we've had that rottic or brain rot dude on the other channel, and then we've got this drinker. One thing they all have in common is I think they're all, past the age that these movies are trying to cater. So they want to, and that's not me saying it, that's them saying it, because them and their fan bases are like, the new stuff is for little kids. They are not for adults. The people watching James Gunn movies, the new Superman, are not adults. You've heard all those things. No matter how much you try to really reason with them, it's kind of like wasting breath. Like the past few videos I've made about Tyrone, where it's like, I'm like, dude, like, why are you hating on something that hasn't been released? Instead of people understanding that, hey, I'm just saying that nobody should really be, like, same thing with even, let's say, like, James Gunn fans that are probably hating anything Snyder related. Like, stop. Like, you haven't seen it, you don't like it, don't watch it. But you don't need to really be putting out negativity out there. But to their credit, they've, when it comes to that drinking dude, that brain rot dude, what is it, brain rottic, nerd whatever, and then you got the Magnemite himself. Their channels over time have just become rage bait. They've become, them and their bubbles have become yes men to each other. And then also on top of that, like, they feed on negativity. Like, literally, if you watch any video of theirs, and it's not even just a James Gunn Superman, if they're not hating, on something, they're not going to post it. So whatever it is, they react to a series, to news, or to whatever, and then all they do is pick it apart and just, like, blastardly just hate on it for no reason. Even if they have a valid reason, they throw in like 100 of different things into that just make it invalid. So I understand. That's how their channel's grown, and that's just how their channels have become. And those, I wouldn't be surprised if in my comment section I see more of those people here, because they're going to miss the entire focus of this video. So I don't expect them to understand anything, because talking to them is a loss. So we are going to be reacting to this new video of his live. I haven't seen it yet, but I already could tell just based on that title. It's called James Gunn Superman is Too Emotional. And in a sense, you would think, oh, he is probably, actually defending James Gunn with that title, maybe fighting against people that are, bashing it for being too emotional, or whatever you want to say. But I think it's the other way around. I think he's actually going to make fun of it. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Call him. Bring him to me.
Let's skip this. We need this.
Please,
Okay, here we go.
So,
He's going to be making people like, people that are like, hey,
Superman.
maybe you shouldn't be so over, because he's been complaining just like all the other, people like him, where they're like, oh my god, this Superman is so emotionally immature, whatever you want to say. He yells a lot more than Henry Cavill's. Yeah, well, there's a difference. He's yelling out of frustration that he doesn't want to do the step. He doesn't understand why people don't understand his way, which is, again, like, he doesn't kill, and, why can't people just be good? Henry Cavill Superman was, like, yelling because he was mad, and then he was just destroying things, and Martha, right? So, I don't want anybody to take it wrong. I love Henry Cavill, and I love what Snyder was trying to do, okay? This is on record. You could go back to seeing how I reviewed, like, all the Snyder movies that I did review. But each person, each director has their own different story to tell. So just because James Gunn is telling his own doesn't mean you should be hating on it because it's not a Zack Snyder story, right? No matter how much you want it, you need to accept that those movies were failures in terms of, like, people always point to, man, Batman versus Superman had such a big box office, the first 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah, well, remember what that dip was looking like, because they made majority of the money in those 2 weeks because everybody was excited, and then they saw what was there. So let's go ahead and get into this.
And being whiny. I mean, people are so sick and tired of seeing clips of James Gunn's Superman, David Corn Sweat, screaming, hollering, jumping up and down, and
By people, he means the Snider Bros, the anti-James Gunn, anti-Superman, anti-DC, that drinking dude, that brain rot dude. Those people. Those people. That's what he's talking about. Because everybody else seems to be enjoying it. They understand, hey, man, if I was to lose a pet, if someone stole a pet that's not even mine but chose me, I would be frustrated. And since I don't kill villains, like, I'm not going to try to kill Lex Luthor here, which I'm very much capable. I've seen that. I've seen his reaction to that clip, and he's like, well, Superman could have just taken him, and got out of there. Oh, well, well, I could say the same thing with, like, Snyder's. Like, well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I know that, Paul Kent told Henry not to save him, but Henry Cavill's also so fast that, nobody would see him disappear, save his father and everything. People would just be like, where did Paul Kent go? Like, who cares? Right? Man, like, those little things. When people used to nitpick those movies, those Henry Cavill Superman movies, I remember how pissed off these guys used to get. Yet these people are doing the same thing to another director and his vision. So, they're hypocrites, man.
when you talk about the clip that surfaced the other day from Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he busts through the door and he's flipping out about crypto. Where's the dog? Okay. I think that is appropriate.
Okay.
The problem is this. I believe it only magnifies how many times the fans have seen him screaming and hollering or crying or whining, however you want to say, describe what he's doing. Okay?
It's called showing emotion. Come on, man. Like, we finally have a Superman showing emotion. In fact, that was one of the things where Henry Cavill was excited to be out of and away from the Snyder movies, was like he wanted to showcase the Superman we know, which is emotion. Emotion. How can we relate to a character? And some people are like, oh, well, how can you relate to Superman? He's literally Superman. Like, he's not supposed to be relatable. Well, then why are you fighting so hard to say, hey, Snyder's version was more realistic. It's a real world. Like, okay, so why are you, in one way, saying, hey, we should accept, that Superman is, if it had realism, if Superman existed in our world, how would that be realistically happening? Okay, we accept that. Now, why is it hard for you to accept the other way, where the world, which the DCU obviously is very much fantastical, so they have to find a way to ground these characters to be more human, to be more relatable. You see, there's two ways to make you feel that this is a real person. You could have Snyder's verse, where the world is real and the characters seem fake. Or you can have a fake world where the characters need to be real, right? So that's my take on this. I don't know what it is so hard for these guys to understand. I mean, we're not even 2 minutes in. I don't know how long this video is.
I think that was appropriate, especially if you've ever had a pet before. If you've had a dog before, they're part of your family. You would bust through those doors and you would holler and scream and threaten as if they were your own child that was taken. Trust me on that. So going back to that, there's like this whole debate on whether he should be that emotional. Now, who is the definitive Superman? I mean, Christopher Reeve, the way he played him in a stoic, commanding, and somewhat intimidating way. So he was stoic, commanding, and intimidating. Okay? Watch the first one. Go look at the two parts where the one cat burglar's climbing up the wall
Okay.
and Superman's sitting there looking at him. When he looks up at him, that's almost scary. The way they did the lighting, it's scary. That's intimidating. Then when the criminals,
Except, you know, I know a lot of people say like Christopher Reeves is their Superman and everything, and I agree with that. Probably the best on-screen Superman we've had. However, well, I'd argue Tyler's version from the CW was surprisingly, um, in my opinion, the closest we've had to the comics, even though it was more focused on Clark Kent and his twins and all that. But I will say this: I will say Christopher Reeve's Superman, amazingly done. However, that was that director's thought of how Superman should be, and that was his vision, and that vision became a reality. And it just happened that it was a great vision to have. Now, should that be put on to everybody else? I don't know about that, because to me, when it comes to like, you know, like I want to say like comic book accurate Superman, I still think like, you know, the Justice League animated series or the Superman animated series is probably like the true definition of who Superman's supposed to be. But everyone's got different tastes, right? But that's my point. It's like everyone's got a different vision of what Superman's supposed to be. So why are we sticking to just one person or whatever?
get away on the boat, he's standing there, and it's all dark and everything. You got 6 foot.
Like, you know, people, this is just becoming a rant session for me, and I'm okay with that. I would assume that's what you guys are here for anyways. But it's like, you know, when Snyder did his take, did you see like Superman fans come out their pocket and be like, oh, this is not Superman, this is not Christopher Reeve Superman? I'm sure there were maybe a few. But to the point that David Cornsweet Superman is being, you know, dragged through the thing by, you know, these folks, yeah, I don't think so either.
4 over 200-pound man sitting there, cape flapping, looking at you with shaded eyes and everything. That's intimidating. When he spoke to Lois, hello, Miss Lane, you know, that type of stuff, he was commanding, respectful, stoic. He never got too emotional. He flirted with her during the interview. You know what I'm saying? When he talked to Lex, you know what I'm saying? Where's the detonator? He picked him up. Throw him. You know what I'm saying? Mold these into your prison bars. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, he wasn't extra emotional. He wasn't. He knew when to get emotional, though. That's the difference. See, that's the difference between men of old and men today. Men today, they want you bitchified. They want you crying and want...
Like, what does any of this have to do with the movie? Just like, oh my God, like, you are judging trailers. I want to reiterate this as big and as loud as I can. You are, and I'm not just talking about Tyrone in particular, I'm talking about like that, you know, the loud minority, right? There's like harsh critics and, you know, the rotting dude and the drinking dude and, you know, all these guys and their fandoms. You are comparing literally parts of a trailer to full movies. Go watch those movie trailers again, right? You didn't get any intimidation from watching those trailers. Like he's saying, Christopher Reeve's Superman had intimidation to him. You don't get that from any of those trailers. But when you watch the movie, holy crap, like, you know, like he's saying, hey, Superman is respectful and he's that, blah, blah, blah. Everything I've seen from these superhero movies, like the Superman movie trailers, the new Superman, James Gunn Superman, he's had moments where he's calm, you know, how their interview starts. And then the hard questions come, questions he hasn't faced ever. Nobody has ever asked him. And instead, people have always criticized him for being strong enough but not saving everyone, right? That, or at least that's like the vibe I'm getting from all these trailers. Again, that's going off of my assumption but I'm not going to judge the movie until I see it. So like these comparisons are just
so
stupid.
emotional. Oh, you need to be strong to be emotional. No, a strong man knows when to be emotional. When the woman that he loved died, yes, he screamed. Okay? When the Zod and his people
I knew he was gonna bring it back.
endangering humans. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that makes sense.
No, it didn't, because he literally destroyed buildings and killed like millions, if not, hundreds. Or okay, let me say this backwards. He literally killed thousands, if not millions, in those buildings that he was fighting Zod. Like he was so stupid that instead of like luring Zod to like a clear space, nah, man, meet me 1v1 at Rust. Not instead of doing that, he said, screw Rust, let's do 1v1 at Skid Row, where, people are living in buildings and stuff. No, I'm like, come on, man, like, that wasn't smart either. But you know what? I accepted it and I loved it. How did I say that? Accepted it. I accepted that and I moved on because I understood that's just the vision that we're going for, okay?
In Superman 4, Nuclear Man was putting people in danger. Stop the people! He knew when to get emotional, but he wasn't constantly emotional. It feels like that to many people with this perception of him. So who's the definitive Superman that Superman should be based on? Should it be Henry Cavill?
No.
Henry Cavill was stoic also, but he did get emotional.
Yeah,
but yes, he was stoic. So what? Superman is stoic.
I will challenge that. I don't think there was much emotion portrayed at all throughout Henry Cavill's Superman arc. Not before he died. Yeah, he smiled maybe twice in Man of Steel, and people just take pictures and like Superman smiled at Man of Steel and all that. Yeah, and those are the only two pictures that reference him smiling or whatever. But it's not even smiling. He's stoic throughout most of it. And then you want to say, okay, he was like emotionally or he was traumatized as a kid, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand that. Batman versus Superman. Stoic everywhere he's going. Stoic saving people. Stoic going to the courtroom. Stoic throughout the entire ordeal. Stoic when talking to Batman. Stoic when he's confronting Batman. The only time he gets emotional, it became a meme. Martha! You remember that? That was a Snider decision. That became the meme, and I just couldn't defend that movie anymore. And then it only got progressively worse from there, from the way, Gal Gadot is there, and then the troll from Lord of the Rings, aka Doomsday, is there, and Superman's dead. Within a movie and a half, Superman dies. And then he returns, right? Justice League. You want to say what you want about Joss Whedon's Superman or Joss Whedon's Justice League. The one thing he did better than Snyder's entire portrayal of Superman is that he made Henry Cavill feel like Superman. The little tribute they had of Superman saving everybody at the beginning of the movie, and the way he was smiling. Yeah, we can't forget that CGI, that ugly CGI, but that showed at least the portrayal of Superman that should have been there from day one. Or at the end of Man of Steel, right? And then we see Snyder's Justice League, and he's even more stoic than ever before because he's, the way he is. And it's, man, like, no, there was really no emotion in Henry.
He's not constantly emotional. He knows when to get emotional. Does he get emotional? Yes.
No.
But there's a difference between being emotional and knowing when to be emotional, okay? Or occasionally getting emotional, all right? I would say go watch the Max Fleischer cartoons. It's Superman!
I'm gonna skip this.
The proper cartoon. He's stoic. He's commanding. He's strong. He makes jokes from time to time.
if you watch again Superman the animated series, which to me is the best, like on-screen Superman, best Lex Luthor, everything. That Superman made choices where you were like, oh, is he overreacting? Is he being over emotional? How is he like just flipping out on Lex Luthor? It had all that. And that's exactly what James Gunn's Superman feels like. Just
right.
like this
Okay.
comic panel right here.
If you watch him, he's a mild-mannered reporter. He's not goofy, he's not bumbling, he's not silly. He's a mild-mannered reporter. Someone that's unassuming. That's why we said that people talk trash on Henry Cavill's Clark, but he's exactly what the old one was. He was unassuming. Just mild-mannered reporter. He played him how he's supposed to be played.
I think the main complaint was that he was just boring to watch. Like, because he didn't really have any, like, you know, like, let's say this. Like, let's say if my argument was that Superman was too stoic, Henry Cavill Superman was too stoic, at least make the Clark Kent version be a little different. And that was the problem. You couldn't tell the difference between the two. It was just Superman with glasses. No change in emotion, no change in anything else. It's just him constantly being the same mood throughout the entire thing. And that was the main complaint. And again, I was defending that as well because that was what they wanted to portray and that's what they succeeded. Whether it was right or wrong, you watch the movie and you judge it. That's all I'm saying here is like, okay, you don't, you know, stop making like all these hateful videos just because of the trailers and, you know?
Another thing people were talking about, I think with that clip though too, is they were saying, well, some people think that he heard Lex, and some people think that he didn't hear Lex. So I guess depending on, I mean, they cut the clip early, so depending on,
it could also be that he just doesn't have all his powers yet.
Whether he really heard him or not.
I can argue that based on those trailers, I think the laser beam part where he's lasering around, I think that's the first time he ever used lasers. He's only been Superman for a few years. I think he's still discovering his potential. And I think you got those red eyes because he overused the laser because he's never had control on it. And the same thing could be here with the super hearing and everything. He probably doesn't have that yet. And even if he does, there's a matter of privacy where Superman chooses, just like he chooses not to use his 100% strength all the time, he chooses not to use super hearing all the time because we've seen him before kind of go crazy, right? Like he only uses his super hearing when he wants to. And it could be in that case, maybe he did use super hearing and he still couldn't understand what Lex was saying because he's doing it in a clever way, you know, and that's not to show the weakness of Clark Kent or Superman, but that was to show the cleverness, the mind or the brilliance of Lex Luthor, where he's like, I know how to get around your stuff, man.
Did he really hear him? Or was he saying that as in, say that again. What'd you say? What'd you say? What'd you say? You know what I'm saying? Also, I don't think people understood me when I was talking about, I don't think that superheroes go to the lengths that they need to go to. I saw a few comments were like, well, Batman would... This is what I mean. Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man, all three of them have different limits when interrogating criminals.
Uh-huh.
What I'm saying is, they don't go to the edge of their limits enough. Okay, so Superman's limits are different than Batman's limits. See, Batman would break a finger to get
I agree.
the information he needs. I'm saying Batman doesn't go far enough sometimes. So he doesn't have to kill. But hey, maybe he cuts a finger off.
Okay.
See? So I think it would be more effective if he did that. Okay? Now see, now if I was Superman personally, I would flew up in there. I wouldn't have walked. I flew up in there. I either crashed through the glass or I would melted it and flapped.
So he wants to basically be Snyder's Superman where injustice was heading, right? He wants to forget that Superman, the whole reason why he doesn't just activate all of his powers all the time is because he still respects another person's privacy. Unless he has concrete proof that that person is doing something wrong. Like, in there, he doesn't know 100% yet that Lex has a dog. He's just assuming he does. And again, it's very much possible he just doesn't have 100% of his powers yet.
Third, can't flap it.
We need to have the whole context. And that's what watching the entire movie will
And I
happen,
asked him
right?
what my dog is. And I would have said it once.
Ooh, my camera
Where's
just
the
zoomed
dog?
in.
They say he doesn't down. They take his hand. Now see, Superman doesn't cut off body parts. So with Superman, you
I don't
go
want
to
to stop
his
this to
end,
fix my
which
camera.
is breaking fingers. See,
Come on,
Batman
camera.
breaks fingers and bones and backs and legs and gives you concussions and puts you in the hospital drooling. Superman doesn't do that. So with Superman, I would start to break his fingers. Crack.
No.
Where's the dog?
No.
And I
Superman,
do it on live television. Live television with Miss Taskmacher recording. That's how I would do it. Okay? And then, if you want to make it more realistic, what you do is people really would sympathize with a Superman that broke a finger to get his dog back. Come on now. Look, let me tell you something. Growing up, black kids I knew, most of them ain't never had no dog. All the white kids I knew had dogs. White folks love dogs. All white folks.
oh my god. So, like, now it's being erased into it, and again, like, you know, a lot of times I don't understand these guys. Superman is an alien. He is not a particular race. All right, that's all you need to know. He's not white. He's not black. He is an alien.
If someone stole Spike, I break a finger to get him back. I love this Superman. He's not going around killing. He broke his finger. And I break every single one of them until he told me. That's just me. I'm sure there's a Superman in the universe that's like that, though. You know what I mean? But the definitive, who is the definitive version?
Just
I
a
think
big
it's
animated.
somewhere between the Max Fleischer and Christopher Reeve. As a matter of fact, I would say it was Max Fleischer's Superman. Max Fleischer's Superman is the definitive Superman. That's what I think. He's closest to his original form of who he is supposed to be. So all of you, do some homework, go watch those cartoons, and see how cool that Superman is. I love that Superman. He's great. He's great. If I had to name my favorite three Superman, that cartoon, Max Fleischer Superman, Christopher Reeve, Henry Cavill. Great. And Tyler's great too. You know what I mean? But I'm just talking about top three.
By the way, the Max Fleischer Superman, or however you say his name, he's talking about it's a 1941 Superman, and I will strongly disagree. I think the best portrayal of Superman is actually Superman the Animated Series and the Justice League Animated Series.
Those are my three favorite Superman. You know what I mean? What you call will come later, though. You know, the one from the Superman cartoon, you know, after Batman animated series, you know,
There you go, yeah.
Superman or whatever. I like him, I do, but I like those other three more. I do.
So that's probably why you're not liking this, because this Superman
if you
feels
enjoy
more like that one.
this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe.
Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think his portrayal of Superman, and he's more than valid, by the way, to have his opinions. But to say my opinion is like, oh, this movie is not meeting my expectations, and therefore it is not as good as those, you know, the other Superman he's talking about. I think that's where he's wrong, especially with a voice like his, and that just invites the hate. Like, whether he's trying to target them or not, people with that type of fan base, they're going to attract the people that hate it regardless and stuff like that, you know? So that's where it's... Just wait until you watch the movie. You watch it, you like it, great. You don't like it, great. But at least you will have watched the movie, and then you can And I already know, like, based on his reactions to all the trailers and everything that's come out, he's probably using that as an excuse. And then when it comes out and he doesn't like it, he's gonna bash it, and he's gonna do that. Like, what I think, if he likes it or not, I don't think we'll ever really know. I think he knows where his audience sits, and because he's, his audience is just feeding off of negativity. I think if he says a good thing about it, I think people will flip on him, and he doesn't want that. So obviously, I'm predicting he's not gonna like it. At the very, very least, he's just going to say it was okay. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, stuff like that. Kudos to him. But yeah, man, that's just my rant. I think it's stupid how, and it's not just Tyrone particularly, but he is a big part of it. But people that are just going on about like hating on something based off of trailers instead of like watching the movie and then judging it from there. They're comparing full-on lengthy movies to trailers to what James Gunn wants to see. And for me, the reason James Gunn has been showing him emotional is because it is a different Superman. It's, it's to prevent the general audience from saying, why am I going to watch another Superman? Haven't we already seen so many before? Well, no, this one's a little bit different. This one's a little bit more human, in a fantastic world instead of a realism world with a fantastical character in it, right? So it's two ways to portray the same thing. I liked what Zach did. I respect what he did. But at the same time, I understand that's in the past. Even Zach understands that's in the past. He and James, they're friends. They've taken pictures together. I'm sure Snyder has influence. James Gunn has said that parts of this movie have been influenced by all different iterations of Superman, including Snyder's Man of Steel. So I don't understand why keep the hate alive, So anyways, whatever your thoughts are, holy, I spent 36 minutes on a 12-minute video. Imagine that. That's how emotional, that's how attached I am to this entire thing. But anyways, whatever your thoughts are, leave it in the comment section down below. Should I do more rants like this more often, or is this too long of a video and you guys are like, nah, man, we get tired? Let me know, because I don't mind talking. I just fear you guys might not like me talking so long. Yeah. Anyways, because time or what is that, attention span is all over the place now. But anyways, whatever your thoughts are about Tyrone's opinion, your opinion, my opinion, the rant, that video, whatever it is, leave it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that post notification bell for every time we go live, and also anytime there's a new video up for your entertainment. So, with that being said, remember the main focus of this channel is to stop the hate, spread the love, and I hope you guys have a great